There is nothing more frustrating than the US healthcare system, and I know I'm not alone in this. As I get older, something I'm becoming more obsessed with is medical tourism. My name is Erin Donahue, and I'm a travel photographer and content creator based in New York City. It's no secret that healthcare in the US is straight up dookie, and I've become more and more disillusioned. I've previously made other videos about getting a comprehensive physical in Taiwan, beauty tourism in Korea, and now I've gone back to Taiwan to do a full check on my GI tract with a colonoscopy and endoscopy. If you want to know how much I paid for it, watch until the end. Taiwan is my second home, and I've been visiting almost every year since I was born. What people might not know is that Taiwan's healthcare system has been consistently ranked as one of the best in the world. In the past, when I was younger, I've had occasional encounters there during emergencies, but this time is different. I intentionally plan my trips there for preventative health measures. Now, I want to make it clear that Taiwan is not known as a medical tourism destination, and I'm not trying to convince you to come for it, quite frankly. I'm sharing my experience to highlight the stark differences between healthcare systems and how the US doesn't take care of its citizens the way other developed nations do. Taiwanese citizens have universal healthcare, but since I'm not a citizen, I went to a private clinic in Hsinchu and paid out of pocket. When I posted about my experience getting the physical, I got a lot of questions asking about this clinic, but unless you are a fluent Mandarin speaker, this place is not for you. While most of the doctors speak English, they prefer Mandarin, and the clinic doesn't offer translation services. I'm fortunate to be fluent enough, and my mom helps translate the more complex medical terminology. The facility is incredibly clean, efficient, and comfortable as a clinic can get. Upon arrival, one of the nurses will walk you through the admin paperwork, and then you're given a locker pre-filled with a change of clothes. After that, you're shuffled through various rooms guided by the nurses. When I first came here and did the health screening, I finished in just about an hour and completed around 20 different tests, including a blood test, allergy test, ultrasounds for my organs and thyroid, a pap smear, vision and hearing, and more. The only thing I didn't get was a skin checkup, which is something I wanted. But skin cancer is not as prevalent in Taiwan. As a foreigner paying out of pocket, this comprehensive physical cost me about $425. To put this in perspective, in the States, you'd need multiple appointments with different specialists, and many of these tests are not even covered under preventative care insurance. I got my test results in about 2 weeks with follow-up notes, and I brought these results back to the States to review with my GP. I was so impressed that when I planned my next trip back to Taiwan, I decided to be proactive about my health and scheduled my first colonoscopy and endoscopy to establish a baseline. This is especially important considering that colon cancer is becoming a growing silent killer, and these procedures should be more accessible to young people in America. Coming to Taiwan and not being able to eat whatever I want to eat is pure torture. I voluntarily elected to get a colonoscopy, and I believe it's an endoscopy. I mean, I'm getting the full GI tract front and back, so either way, getting it done in the beginning of the trip to get it out of the way, because also it'll be Chinese New Year, so things will be closed. If you're not familiar, I made a medical tourism video last year. I was actually in Taiwan less than a year ago, so 9 months ago, and then that went like pretty viral across social media, and that was just to get a physical. So now I've come back and I've decided to electively do a colonoscopy, and I'm pretty sure it's an endoscopy, but it could be wrong. But to do it now that I'm in my early 30s as a baseline, because you would not be able to do something like this in the US. And you won't believe how much it is to do the procedure either. It's just insane, like how much better people are treated outside of the US. So I started the process. It's about 48 hours before my appointment, and had to start diminishing fasting kind of what I'm going to be eating. And then in a few hours, going to start taking the medicine, the laxatives, to wash everything out of the system. This is what I have to eat, basically. It is like a congee mix, eating that within the 24 hours before my appointment tomorrow. Technically, I started doing the diet 48 hours in advance. So it's not the same as like in the US, where I believe you're only giving some like laxative mixture and then you just start like shitting your brains out with 24 hours leading up to the procedure. Here it's kind of like more gradual, where you have some food in your system, but you're not allowed to eat things like soy, uh, and a bunch of other stuff. Basically, can only really be allowed to eat like rice-based kinds of foods. I cannot wait for tomorrow to be over so that I can start eating what I want to eat in Taiwan.
You have to drink it two.
Actually, it tastes good.
OK，one shot，跟他说一次全部喝光。
Tastes like lemon. The process was straightforward. Before the actual procedure, they repeated some blood work and a couple of the evaluative tests that I'd previously done during my physical. You get an itemized list of what needs to be done, and you're shuffled around various rooms with different doctors and nurses, just like last time. Then I was sedated, and I was surprised to see what was in my anesthesia. Even though I knew it was medical grade, I'll admit it was slightly unnerving. Before I could think too much about it, I was knocked out, and then the next thing I knew, I was waking up with the procedure wrapping up, and then I was moved into a recovery area while the anesthesia wore off.
So I finished both my endoscopy and colonoscopy, and now I'm just relaxing as the anesthesia fully wears off. I actually woke up in the middle when they were doing the colonoscopy part. I fell asleep during the endoscopy part, but it wasn't uncomfortable or anything. I just had the feeling I really needed to go to the bathroom. That was about it. And now I'm just waiting for everything to wear off so I can get on with my day.
The entire cost to get a colonoscopy and endoscopy as a foreigner only set me back $525. I've literally had dinners more expensive than that. During the procedure, they found and removed a polyp, which I had pre-consented to, resulting in a separate charge as shown in the second receipt. Without the removal, the screenings are less than $400. Doesn't that just infuriate you as an American? And to piss you off even further, it includes a delicious lunchbox at the end. Since I went to a private clinic, this overall rate might be a little pricey for Taiwanese people, but they have the option to do this at a hospital instead under their National Institute of Health. Now, I know discussing medical tourism can come across as privileged, and yes, international flights aren't cheap. One strategy is if you're a savvy travel hacker, you can easily mitigate the cost of airfare and accommodations with credit card points. Looking at the bigger picture, combining these procedures with your travel costs can still be more economically feasible than getting them done in the States. Plus, look at it as a 2-for-1 deal. You're exploring a new place while taking care of your health. Unless the US somehow changes its healthcare system to actually benefit us, the citizens, like other developed countries, I'm going to remain a proponent of going abroad for medical and cosmetic procedures. For those of you interested in medical tourism, there are several popular destinations like Thailand, Malaysia, Korea, Turkey, Mexico, and Colombia. I'm particularly intrigued by Thailand and Malaysia. Their hospitals look more like luxury hotels. But remember, and I cannot stress this enough, do your own thorough research before making any decisions. If you found this video insightful in any way, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Drop a comment below and see you in the next video.